Freckles with your girl Kat. I want to apologize for being gone. I've been MIA. I've been having a lot of travel going on, both personal and work. And then the 2 weeks that I was free to film, 1 week I had strep. And then last week my voice was gone from being at the NSBE convention, recruiting some really great talent. So I was talking way too much, go figure, and lost my voice. So I'm here, I'm back, I'm gonna be back on my regular schedule. I wanna thank y'all for rocking with me in the meantime, but I want to give a big thank you to everyone who's been subscribing to me. I'm almost to 1,000 subscribers. So what I'm gonna do, whenever I make it to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a video all about me. Whatever questions that y'all have that are PG-13, okay? Any questions that y'all have in regards to my life, my hair, whatever. So any of the questions that you want to ask me, just make sure that you put it in the comments of this video or any of my other videos. Just make sure that you use the hashtag AMV, About Me Video, so that I know that that question is in regards to the About Me video, so that I can answer your question whenever I shoot it. So once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm doing an About Me video, and any questions that you have in regards to Kat, fair game. Rated PG-13. Okay, y'all, so this video is about porosity, as you can tell from the title. So I'm going to be doing 2 different porosity tests, the strand touch test and then the water flow test, to see what my hair porosity is. As you can imagine, with heat damage, my different curl patterns might have different porosity levels. So I made sure to pluck from different parts of my head just to make sure that I'm giving myself fair game and a fair chance to figure out what my true porosity is. So the different porosity levels, you have low porosity, medium or normal porosity, and high porosity. So if you have low porosity hair, your hair shaft and the cuticle on your hair shaft is closed, meaning it's hard for moisture to get in, and it really repels moisture, any product that's in your hair. So if you have low porosity hair, more than likely whenever you apply any kind of products, it just kind of sit on top of your hair and take its time before it works into your hair. So if that's one of the things that happens to you or one of your issues, you more than likely have low porosity hair. But you can do these tests just to double check. So low porosity hair, a few things about it. Like I said, it repels moisture because the cuticle is closed. It's harder for the moisture to get in. But the good thing about that is once the moisture gets in, it's harder for it to get out. So it retains moisture longer than, say, high porosity hair. Low porosity hair is also harder to process. So if you want to dye your hair or perm it or whatever it is that you're trying to chemically process, it's harder to do with low porosity hair, again, because the cuticle is closed. So it's repelling anything that's trying to get in. And another thing about low porosity hair is it doesn't really react well or work well with protein high treatment. So if you have a protein treatment that you want to do as a deep conditioner, your hair will more than likely feel very dry and straw-like because of the porosity of your hair being low. It does not really work well with protein treatment. So if you have low porosity hair, you want to make sure that you stick to very moisture heavy treatments, deep conditioners that focus more on moisture rather than protein. So keywords that you see on these deep conditioners will be like moisture or replenish. You don't want to see too much of the strengthen. Strengthen more than likely ties into a protein treatment. So you want to do something that's more replenish and moisture. Really good products for people who have low porosity hair is something on the lighter end. So you want to use water-based leave-in conditioners or like hair milks for your moisturizer, because you know you have hair milk, souffle, Tule, you know, all those different things. You want to use hair milk since hair milks aren't as heavy of a moisturizer. So if you have low porosity hair and you use a heavier based cream as a moisturizer, it'll make your hair feel very greasy and heavy. So that should be another clue that you probably have low porosity hair. But again, make sure to do the test. So if you are one of the lucky few people that have normal or medium porosity hair, you're lucky, because medium and normal porosity hair is the easiest to work with because it retains moisture longer than your high porosity hair, but it also takes in moisture faster than your low porosity hair. So it's easier for you to put products in your hair. It's easier for your hair to receive those products and to hold them in and to keep them. It's easier for you to manage your hair if you have medium or normal porosity hair, just because of the fact that it's so good with moisture. So if you have normal porosity hair, it's okay for you to do a protein treatment every now and then, maybe like once a month, once every other month, but I definitely would not recommend doing it every day, because high porosity hair is typically what uses protein the most, but normal porosity hair can also use protein every now and then. It's not going to make your hair as dry and straw-like as it does for people who have lower porosity hair. So a protein treatment once every month or every other month is a-okay for you. If you have normal porosity hair, you can use just about any products. You can use the lighter water-based ones or the heavier ones, and it really does not matter because your hair is going to receive and maintain the moisture that you give it. You're lucky. Okay, so for all the high porosity people, this is more than likely a result of heat damage, like myself, chemical damage if you have a perm, or your hair can just naturally be high porosity. It's not good or bad, it's just what you gotta work with, okay? So if you have high porosity hair, you are more prone to frizz because your cuticles are wide open. Sometimes you might have holes, like I said, if it is a result from damage. So the fact that your cuticles are wide open and you have these holes, it's wide open for water to get in, aka moisture from the air. So if you live in somewhere like Houston or New Orleans or somewhere where it's really humid and your hair is always frizzy, you probably have high porosity hair. Not saying that people with normal porosity or low porosity hair cannot get their hair frizzy, but people who have high porosity hair, it's more prone for you to get frizzy. Like if you just go outside and bam, hair is on frizz, more than likely have high porosity hair. But make sure you take the test. I don't know everything, but that is one of the key symptoms of high porosity hair. So for all my ladies and gents who have high porosity hair, the products that you would want to use is really a combination of products. So you want to use a leave-in, you want to use a moisturizer, you want to use a sealant. So the lock method is what you would really need to use in order to retain your moisture, because it's going to take you a little bit more work in order to fill in those holes and those gaps that your open cuticles have provided. So you want to use a leave-in, you want to use a cream, if you want to do the LCO, if you want to do the LOC, you can do a leave-in, oil, then a cream, or like I was saying before, a leave-in, a cream, and an oil, which is what I like to do, seal it with an oil. So your sealant is an oil. And if you want to do just a moisturizer, make sure to use a heavier moisturizer. Okay, time to test my hair and figure out what porosity my hair is. So the first test I'm doing is the strand fill test. So basically what you do is you get a strand of hair, you grab it at the end of the hair and you rub up towards your scalp. If you feel any bumps, that indicates that you have a higher porosity hair. Bumps meaning the open cuticles that I was mentioning earlier. If it's just smooth going up and down your hair, that indicates that you have a lower porosity hair, meaning that your shaft or your cuticles are not open. So I clearly have a braid in my hair, so me doing it straight from my head is not going to happen. But like I said, I plucked quite a few hairs out of my head so that we can do these tests. So here, not sure if you can see this. This is a strand of my hair. Let me get up close so you can see. Hopefully you can see this. This is a strand of my hair. So clearly this is out of my head. I don't know which side is from the root and which side is from the tip. So I'm gonna rub it both ways. I'm gonna start off rubbing it from this way to this way. I don't know if that's your left to your right or my right to my left. It is my left to my right, but probably your right to your left. I promise you I'm not stupid. It's just a little confusing whenever you're filming. So let's get crack-a-lackin'.
Oh my God, it's DJ Small.
Feels pretty smooth to me. I don't feel any bumps. This way. Also smooth. So according to this test, I more than likely have a lower porosity hair. So another thing about lower porosity hair, whenever you're in the shower and you're trying to wet your hair, if it takes your hair a while for it to get wet, you more than likely have a lower porosity hair. If your hair instantly gets wet and absorbs all the water that instantly touches it, more than likely have a high porosity hair. So whenever you have a high porosity hair, your hair will also dry faster. Whereas if you have a lower porosity hair, it'll take your hair forever to dry. So that's also a trick statement in the fact that if you were to braid your hair like my hair is now, anyone's hair will take forever to dry. So whenever they say it takes forever to dry or it dries quickly, it more than likely means whenever your hair is just down, unbraided, untwisted, unrolled, whatever it is. So with your hair just down in its natural state, if it dries fast, that's because you have a high porosity hair, your cuticles are open, your shaft is open, so the water it easily leaves as easily as it comes. So it comes in easy and it leaves out just as easy because it's just an open door basically. But if it takes your hair forever to dry and it's just dripping wet and it never just really gets dry, just with it just being straight down, then it's more than likely because you have a lower porosity hair because your cuticles or that door is closed. So as hard as it is for that water to get in, it's just as hard for it to get out. So it takes forever for it to dry. On to the next test. So the next test is the water float test. So basically what you do is you get a glass or a clear container so you can see through this container if your hair floats or sinks. So I have my glass of water here. What you do is you take a strand or a few strands of hair, you drop this in the water. If you have low porosity hair, your hair will float on the top of this water because like I said earlier, your cuticles are closed, so those doors on your hair shaft are closed. So as hard as it is for the water to get in, it's just as hard to get out. So if you wait 5 minutes and your hair is still floating on top of the water, it's because your shaft or those doors are closed and it's not letting that water in to allow your hair to drop. However, if your hair floats in the middle, it's because you have normal or medium porosity hair, meaning that the door is kind of cracked on your hair shaft. Your cuticles are kind of open but not too open like high porosity. So if you have medium porosity hair, it'll allow the water in slowly. So about 5 minutes later, it should be about in the middle of your glass or your container or whatever it is that you're doing this test in. However, if you have high porosity hair, at the end of the 5 minutes, your hair will be at the bottom of the glass because your cuticles or your shaft in your hair is wide open, meaning that the doors are wide open, allowing water to just flow through easily and freely, allowing it to soak up all that water and become heavy and sink down to the bottom of this glass. I probably over-explained this, but I'm sure at least one person is going to appreciate the fact that I explained this thoroughly. So, that's why I lost my voice in the first place, because I talked too freaking much. So, get to the test. Here I have a few strands of hair, all different curl patterns because I took them from all different parts of my hair. So, this should be pretty accurate. Hair is kind of long, so I'm gonna make sure all the strands are getting wet. So all the strands are wet. As you can see, this is where the hair is. We're gonna wait 5 minutes and see if it ends up floating or if it ends up sinking, and that'll determine what my porosity is. Okay, so it has been 5 minutes, so the water float test is over. Time to see what my results were, and I will tell you, it's kind of confusing. I'll show you. So, here is what my test shows. The bottom of the glass is down here. The top of the water is here. And part of my hair is still at the top of the water. It's not really in the middle of the glass, but it's also not at the top. So I feel that I am closer to medium porosity, which is hard for me to believe because I don't really feel like my hair is easy to deal with. But this is what the water's looking like. It is floating towards the middle, halfway hanging on the top. So to me, that means that part of my hair which is damaged, wait a second. Now I'm confused. So now look. I'm trying to hold it to where I can see it. So now the curliest strand of my hair, aka the healthiest, is at the bottom of the glass. I literally just put the glass down and it dropped. So that could be a result of me moving it around, or it can be the fact that it's just high porosity. So I don't know what to tell y'all. So in my case, I have a combination hair. I have both medium and high porosity hair. I say medium because the hair dropped down to the bottom towards the end, so I'm not gonna really count that. It did hang towards the middle. Most of my strands hung towards the middle, so I'm gonna say medium to low porosity hair. But like I said, I have several different curl patterns. I have heat damage, so my hair could be all three porosities, honestly. So,
Oh my God, it's BJ's.
saying this to say, do what works for your hair. So for me, what works for my hair is the lock method. If I had lower porosity hair, like these tests are indicating that I am, then I should be able to use the water-based or the lighter moisturizers, which, quite frankly, don't work for me. I have to use the lock method and my hair still ends up dry. So I use lock method and then a gel to kind of just hold it in place. So, saying all this to say, hair porosity is a good guide to let you know what kind of products to go towards. And as you can tell, my voice is still kind of gone. So, wasn't lying to y'all. I'm just now getting it back as of a couple of days ago. So all this talking straight is kind of bringing back flashbacks to my vocal cords. They're trying to shut down on me. So use the porosity test as a guide, not as an instruction manual. Because as you can see, my results are kind of inconclusive. I don't know what to take from this. But what I do know is that my hair likes the lock method or the LCO method, both of which work pretty well for me, but I just like the LCO method better because I feel like the oil is a sealant and it seals my moisture in and it gives me better results. So that would indicate a higher porosity. However, my test is indicating a lower porosity. So yeah, use what works for you. So what my final conclusion is, since my healthiest strand of hair finally sank down to the bottom of the glass after the test was concluded, but it maintained in the middle towards the top middle of the glass, floating within the water during the test, that my healthy hair is medium or normal porosity, which is ideal. And that my damaged hair is lower porosity, which is surprising because you would expect damaged hair to be higher porosity due to the damage. But what I do, what confirms the fact that my damaged hair is low porosity is that my hair was heat trained. So I could straighten my hair and then go out in Houston or New Orleans, and for the most part my hair would not get frizzy. And people would always be so surprised that my hair stayed straight for so long whenever I straightened it and that it wouldn't really frizz up. So that does confirm that my damaged hair is low porosity, meaning it's harder for the moisture to get in, meaning that my hair doesn't get as frizzy as easily. However, what's a little alarming to me is that my healthiest strand of hair is medium to high porosity, which means when I finally straighten my hair again after this whole 1 year long of heat-free journey, that my hair might not be as heat trained as I'm used to it, and so it might get frizzy. It might get frizzy easier, which I'm not used to dealing with. So that'll be something to look forward to. So in conclusion, PS, I have combination hair. Some of it is low porosity, the other is medium to normal porosity, and that might be the case for most people, that you just have combination hair. That's actually the reality for most people, that you have combination hair, you have combination of different curl patterns, you have combination skin. It's normal. So let me know what your results were for your porosity test. Does it work for you? Did the porosity test hold true? Do you think it's bogus? Do you think you're confused and you're still trying to figure it out? Or just let me know what you think of the porosity test, because I'm still trying to come to terms with it and I'm still trying to decode what the water just told me. So thank y'all for staying tuned and watching this video. Stay tuned for the next one. You're gonna love it. Remember to subscribe. Please like this video so that I know that you're watching it, because it has been a while. I need to know that y'all are still watching my videos. Subscribe so I can finally get to 1K and so y'all can find out all about me. And please, please, please comment what your results were so we can talk about this, because I'm confused and I still got questions. So until next time, thank y'all.